Let's get started with 10 cards, 1 kit from Creative Escape Papercrafting.
I thought it would be fun to make a shaker card using the memory
box Snowflake die set. So I prepared a panel with acetate, added foam tape to make sure that my shaker bits stay in place. Now I'm taking the red mirrored cardstock as my mat. Then I'll add my shaker bits to the center and add my prepared shaker window on top of that. With the foam tape that I use from Dollar Tree, you only need 1 layer. It's nice and thick. So here's my window, and I did use the snowflake die to cut the opening there. And once again, I added acetate to the back, added 1 layer of foam tape, and I cut the opening closer to the bottom of the panel since I want to add a sentiment to the top. So now I'm taking the die cut, adding adhesive, which is the Scotch quick dry liquid adhesive. I'm adding it to the outer edge because you have just a tiny area to add adhesive to, so I'm adding it to the center circle as well, and then just in little areas around where there's more cardstock, and that does hold it in place. I'll just set something heavy on it for the time being while I get my center snowflake prepared with liquid adhesive as well. And then I'll be adding that to the center of the card. Super cute, lots of shaker bits and plenty to make another shaker card if you'd like. So I've taken one of the sentiments, backed it in the mirrored cardstock, and now I'm adding it to the top of my card, and really that's all you need to complete this card. Next, I'm taking one of the 4x6 journaling cards and the Oh What Fun Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I'm cutting an opening in the front to make a slider card. I've reserved the cutout piece that I'll use on my cardstock. I've also added foam tape to the back, and I'll get back to that in a little bit. I've added the Oh What Fun and make sure it lines up with the opening on the front panel. I stamped Oh What Fun from the stamp set, and now I'm adhering the red panel to the cardstock, and this little guy I colored up. I've added a penny to the back that separates the die cut with a piece of foam tape, and that will fit nicely into the cutout opening of my front panel. It's easy to just slip it through. And once you've got it in there, you can slide it back and forth. If you don't have this die, you can cut a similar opening with your paper trimmer. Make sure that the foam tape in the back doesn't interfere with the penny sliding back and forth. Next, let's line this up with the sentiment. And that way you have a complete scene without the red cardstock showing. Make sure you reserve that extra piece. And now we have a sentiment that reads, Oh What Fun, and you got this little cute stamp that can move back and forth. Super cute. Just love playing with this. It's so cute. For my next card, I've taken a couple sheets of this blue and white 6x6 cardstock that comes in the kit. Love the blue. I'm going to add that as my mat. And then I've cut out 2 pieces with an additional blue that had the polka dots on it, and I'm going to use those as my snowbanks. And I'm going to, since this had the hole in the from the top of the sheet, I'm going to stack that like this, and that way I cover up the hole. I've added foam tape to the back to give it some dimension, and now I'm just going to add this to the bottom. So cute. And then I colored up another one of these images. I love this little guy, and I think I want to add him there, but let me just see what else I've got ready for this card. I've taken one of the sentiments, backed it with the mirrored cardstock, and then I used my tiny attacher and attached some of the ribbon that comes in the kit, and I think I'm going to add that there. I've also got one of the little cut aparts from the 6x6 sheet, perfect size for this scene, and I'm going to add that there like he's going to the North Pole. Add that right there. And let's see, I don't know if to add some dimension to this or not. Let's see, I'm trying to decide. Why not? I love adding foam tape. Okay, so just go ahead and add, I think I can only add one piece, and add him right there. Let's see. Add a little bit right up here. And I'll just add him right there at that bottom bank. And then add my sentiment. Add this up here. And then I wanted to carry on with the theme of that blue ribbon and add it right underneath this sign. And there you go, guys. I've taken this vintage style cardstock and added some twine to the left side, which will go perfect with this vintage looking Santa that I used one of my frame dies to cut out. It just was perfect as an oval shape. I'm going to add some ATG to the back, and this is going to be a simple and quick card, but I think it's so cute. I used the craft cardstock to cut the frame for Santa, and I'm just adhering it flat down onto my card. I've taken one of the cut aparts and just cut out the Merry Christmas and backed it in white cardstock, and that will be my sentiment. I did pop that up, and I'm just adding it to the lower right hand side. Super cute and simple. My next card is a side folding card, and I've taken a red mat, and I'll be adhering that to my white card base. And I've taken one of the 4x6 journaling cards with this beautiful scene, and I'll be adhering that flat to the card base as well. And once again, I've used the Lawn Fawn Oh What Fun stamp set. I've colored it up, and I'm going to use one of my action wobbles that I have in my stash. Thought it would be fun to add that to this little cute little guy on a sleigh. So I'm just adhering it to the cutout, and then I'm removing the backing, and this will go directly onto my card. And I'll add that to the lower left hand section of the card. and you can't help but play with it. Now I'll add some liquid adhesive to one of the snowflakes from the memory box die set. And there you go, guys. Here's the little card. I'm using this diagonal stripe that I'm adhering to my white card base. And I'm planning to make a pocket for the front of the card with a scrap that I had left from the kit. So I'm adding foam tape to the back of this piece, and I'm only adding it to the 3 sides because I want the opening at the top so that I can add elements to this pocket. So I'm just adding it to the lower portion of my card. Make sure I've got it lined up, and as you can see, I've created a pocket. Next, I'm getting another additional scrap, and I want to break up the bottom cardstock a little bit and just add a finished look to that bottom piece. Now I've taken the tags that came in the kit and I've backed them in different colors of cardstock, and I think they turned out adorable. These will be great to give as a gift, this card, and then have tags that they can add to their own gifts. So those tuck in nicely into the pocket that I created. And now for the finishing touch, I'm adding the sentiment that I cut from the 6x6 sheet and just adding it to the bottom section there. For my next card, I've fussy cut these ornaments from one of the 6x6 sheets. I've added some Nuvo drops to the top of the ornaments to make it nice and shiny, and that is available at Creative Escape Papercrafting. I've got my green card base, or green first mat, and I've drawn lines on where I want to hang the ornaments. So I've just staggered them, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to my card base. I also took one of the 6x6 sheets and cut an oval frame, and I've got foam tape in the back, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing. Okay, now we're going to add this to this green mat. I'm going to center it up. There we go. Now one of the pieces on that cardstock were these 2 ornaments that were overlapping, so I cut it as one piece, and I've lined up the lines that will be the strings for the ornaments right next to each other, so that'll continue on to each of the ornaments there. Okay, and then I have 3 single ones, and I'm going to add this one here. I like this one right here. Just kind of staggered them. And then I've got one more, which is this one. I'll add that there. I fussy cut the Christmas memories from one of the sheets, and I'm going to add this right here so it looks like the ornaments are hanging from this Christmas sign. There we go, and that completes this card. For my next card it's a top folding card, and I had to use this beautiful plaid, and that is going to be my mat. And I used another one of the 4x6 journaling cards, but I cut it out with one of my oval dies. And this truck is super adorable, and I think it looks great with this plaid cardstock. So I'm going to add this to the lower section of my card, and I did add foam tape to the back of that. And then I've got one of the little tags that came in the kit, and I've added foam tape, and I'm adding that as my sentiment. Make sure I get that straight. And then this I cut out of one of the images in the kit, adding foam tape, and I'm going to add that right to that section there where the tag hole is. And look how quick and easy this card came together. Love it. So cute. For my next card, I didn't do a tutorial on this one, but I'll put a link to a video that I did on how to construct this diorama card base. And I used one of the 6x6 sheets as my background piece with this beautiful scene. And then I used the center circle. After I cut the frame out, I used these little pieces to make a hill on the back side, or on the back side of this little cottage or chalet and tree. So I fussy cut that out. That was a strip in one of the paper lines. And then of course I had to cut out this little truck that was on one of the 6x6 sheets, and it had cut aparts on that. And then if you recall, I had used this polka dot blue paper on one of my cards. Well, I used the remainder of that scrap that was left over for one of the snowdrifts. So this is what this card looks like. It folds flat, and that you can also insert it into an envelope. For my last card, I wanted to challenge myself and use the leftover scraps from the cutouts that I had used on my 9 cards. So I took the circles from the white card base after cutting these 2 sections out, and I used that to make a card base for my next card. So I did trim off the bottom so that this card would be able to stand up. So that's my base. I took the top circle from this and cut off the bottom, and that way it would match this card base. So I added foam tape to that, and I'm going to add this right here to the center of this piece. Now this section down here was a small strip that was on one of the 6x6 sheets, and I only adhered it on 3 sides to once again make another pocket because I had leftover tags. Well, I had this little sentiment here, and I just shaped it into a tag and added a little bit of the red and white twine, and this was another tag that was in the kit. Added red twine on the top as well, and I want to add those to the inside of this little pocket. And then there was this little cutout on one of the 6x6 sheets, and it's a Santa. There's the old time Santa with a Christmas list, and I thought this would be great to add into this little pocket. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial with my 10 cards, 1 kit from Creative Escape Papercrafting. I'll also put a link in the description box to the extra dies that I used to create my cards. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you are not already a subscriber, I'd love for you to subscribe, and don't forget to visit our Creative Escape Facebook page as well. Thank you everyone, and have a great day.